TSN's Motoring 95 is brought to you by Quaker State. Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life. And Midas. For brake, exhaust, suspension, and steering service, trust your car to Midas.
Beginning in 1953, this plant has produced vehicles with such memorable names as the Edsel Ranger, the Falcon Frontenac, Tempo and Topaz, and many more. But today it is home to Ford's newest minivan, the Windstar. Hello everybody, and it is that time of the year again as we present our Car of the Year special. Over the next half hour here at the Ford Assembly Plant in Oakville, Ontario, we will select the best from the class of 95. Everybody will be dropping by. Jim Kenzie's around here somewhere. Bill Gardner will be coming by with his comments on the new cars. And joining me right now, our man behind the wheel each week on Test Drive. I know the face, I just don't recognize the suit, but it's Graham Fletcher. And Graham, you know, with so many new cars and trucks out there, obviously for the consumer, the job of trying to make that final purchase decision is more difficult than ever, but how about trying to pick the best of the lot?
It's getting more difficult without question. You know, the level of technology is going up, the quality of fit and finish getting better by the day. At one time there was a very definite two-tiered system, the haves and the have-nots. Now it's just a degree of haves. On that note, let's take a look at the categories for 1995. The categories this year are economy cars priced under $15,000, family cars priced between $15,000 and $30,000, luxury cars priced between $30,000 and $50,000, Best New Wagon, Sport Utility of the Year, and lastly, the Prestige Car of the Year, where price is no object.
And then from the winners, we will select our overall Car of the Year. All right, let's get started now and have a look at our three nominees for the Best New Economy Car of 1995.
The Cavalier has enjoyed a long life at the top, being Canada's best seller for several years. To maintain that lofty position, the 95 edition has been completely remodeled. GM have also added a new running mate named the Sunfire. The Neon is probably one of the best examples of what can be accomplished if there's enough riding on the outcome. The cute looks and perky performance are sure to win over the young and young at heart. The standard airbags, available anti-lock brakes and peppy 132 horse 2-litre engine are all available at an affordable price. 10 short years ago, Hyundai gave Canada the Pony. Today they offer the Accent. The attractive new look, technologically advanced engineering, and degree of safety are sure to prove as popular with the punters as the original Pony did in its first years. The winner of this category is the Hyundai Accent. It edged out the Neon because of the Neon's inauspicious beginnings. Simply put, it had one too many recalls for my liking.
You know, one of the workers in this factory has said, don't let that Kenzie guy show up. I don't like him calling us fat and lazy. Well, I never called Canadian car workers fat and lazy. What I did say was that they couldn't take their high-paying jobs for granted. They had to compete with car workers all over the world on quality and on cost. The workers in this factory have proven that they can do that. In competition with lots of factories that Ford owns in North America, they won the right to build the Windstar. It's the only place where this vehicle is built. To my way of thinking, the Windstar is the first van that seriously challenges Chrysler's domination of the minivan market. So I say all power to these guys. You've done exactly what I said you had to do.
Chrysler really thought of everything because they covered all the bases. If you happen to get kidnapped and locked in the trunk, you can release it from the inside. Nice safety feature, Chrysler.
We're back at the Ford Assembly Plant in Oakville, Ontario, home to the brand new Windstar. And joining me right now on our Car of the Year special is Terry Wilson, the Manufacturing Planning Manager here at the Ford plant. And Terry, you were telling me earlier you've been with Ford for 27 years, so I get the feeling that you've seen a lot more models come down this line than just the Windstar.
Oh yes, at various points in time, Oakville Assembly Plant has built virtually every vehicle that the Ford Motor Company has owned. We basically gutted the plant from the floor to the joist. We employ approximately 3,900 people here, 2 shifts production, 3 shifts basically of a maintenance and service staff. It's gone through many, many changes in my 27 years, but none more exciting than with the Windstar.
Thank you, Terry. Now let's have a look at our next category and meet our 3 nominees for Best Family Car of 1995.
During the introduction of the all-new Cirrus, Chrysler made no bones about the fact that this car was aimed directly at the import competition. With its sassy look, style, double wishbone suspension, potent 2.5-litre V6 engine, roomy interior and high level of standard equipment, the first of the cloud cars has the right ingredients to succeed. Nissan's popular Maxima sports sedan burst into the 95 model year with a totally new look and a performance-oriented 3-litre 190 horsepower V6 engine. Elsewhere, the Maxima comes loaded with such things as dual airbags, anti-lock brakes, plus a host of comfort and convenience items. The Contour is loaded with nifty technology ranging from its traction control and ABS through to the all-new Duratec engine. With 24 valves, 4 cams and 170 horsepower, it delivers a power-packed punch. The result is a neatly packaged family sedan that has a decidedly sporty flavour. And our family car of the year goes to the Nissan Maxima.
So the Maxima wins it, but you know, the Maxima certainly doesn't have the individual styling of the Contour and the Cirrus, but Graham, styling has never really been a forte of the Maxima, has it?
No, it hasn't indeed. During the original road test, I commented on its very staid styling. That aside, the reason it got the nod is because it solves an age-old dilemma, and that dilemma is, you want a sports car, but your family commitments dictate a four-door sedan. Well, the Maxima offers the fun of a sports car with the practicality of a family sedan.
All right, now let's head to our next category and meet our 3 nominees for Luxury Car of the Year.
The totally new front-wheel drive Mazda Millennia is classified as an entry-level luxury sedan and is positioned between the 626 and 929. The highlight of the new Millennia is without question the millicycle engine found in the S model. The engine uses innovative technology to boost output without sacrificing fuel economy. The all-new Continental is Ford's way of counteracting Cadillac's Seville with its North Star engine. As well as featuring every conceivable luxury item known to man and then some, the Continental now utilizes a state-of-the-art 4.6-litre V8 engine that pumps out 260 horsepower. From the stylized A on the grille to the one found on the trunk lid, the new Aurora is as Japanese gets, except for the fact that it comes from Oldsmobile. Factor in the luxury handling and silky smooth engine, and the Aurora will give its competition a real run for their money. It will also substantially up the image of Oldsmobile. In a very close race, the Mazda Millennia gets nudged out by our luxury car of the year, the Oldsmobile Aurora.
There's a lot of ghosts in an old factory like this one. You know, the last car my father ever bought, and the first one I ever drove, was probably built right here in this factory. It was a 1954 Meteor. That was a Canadian version of the full-size Ford. It still had the old flathead V8 engine and a 3-on-the-tree manual transmission. Of course, it didn't have airbags and anti-lock brakes like we have today. That car didn't even have seat belts. It only had one sun visor on the driver's side, and the turn signals were an option. We didn't have them. We had to have them installed as an aftermarket accessory. But you know, in 14 years of driving, I don't ever recall that car having a mechanical problem. It was a tough automobile. Yes, it eventually started to rust, and I remember trying to patch a hole in the fender with fiberglass, and it didn't work very well. We eventually had that car towed away, and a few years later, my father passed away. All good things must come to an end.
For many years, a lot of cars and light trucks have incorporated some sort of an audible sensor into their brake systems. That high... Why is it doing?
We're back at the Ford Assembly Plant in Oakville, Ontario, where they're producing up to 85 Windstars an hour as we continue with our Motoring 95 Car of the Year special. Now we're going to leave the plant for just a moment, head to the garage where Bill Gardner is standing by. And will you look at that? Bill has even put on the black tie for this special occasion. You know, Bill, it's been said that consumers should avoid purchasing a vehicle in its first production year. How do you feel about that?
Well, Brad, that used to be really true, and 10 or 15 years ago, I definitely would have advised anybody to lay off a first-year design. But nowadays, with CAD/CAM, computer-assisted design and modeling, it's allowed engineers to actually try components without having to actually build them and maybe use you as the proving ground. Now, the vehicles are much better quality-wise as a result of that. So I don't think it's nearly the factor it used to be. But make no mistakes about it, there are always running changes made in any vehicle's production history, and they're usually heavily concentrated in that first year or so. So it is a factor. Now, with certain manufacturers that have had a big history of recall, maybe it's something you want to consider. Other manufacturers whose products are known to be really solid, don't even worry about it. Now, I'll tell you one thing, Brad. Even the best of these new cars, and you guys can pick your car of the year, anything you want, none of them turn my crank. I'll be over in the light truck department because, believe me, that's where it's at, and that's why the light truck segment is the fastest growing market sector. We're talking vans, sport utilities, Suburbans, pickup trucks, etc. In the past few years, engineers have engineered out all the negative qualities that people didn't like about these trucks. The handling and ride is just as good as or better in many cases than some cars. They're a much better buy in some cases as well. So have a look. You might find something that really interests you over there. And they're certainly more practical, more repairable, and in many cases they stand up to the Canadian winter much better. So that's where you're going to find me. Till next week, I'm Bill Gardner for Motoring 95.
They're building high-tech Ford Windstar vans in this plant now. The previous product that was in here was the Ford Tempo and Mercury Topaz. High-tech? Well, hardly. As a matter of fact, Tempo and Topaz wouldn't make anybody's All-Star Car of the Year list. But the former manager of this plant, a man named Ray Husak, made an interesting point during the changeover. He said the Tempo and Topaz put a lot of breakfasts on a lot of tables of the people in this immediate area. You know, as car critics, we don't usually think about that. We just evaluate the car. But the Tempo and Topaz had an important role to play in the economy of Southern Ontario and of Canada as a whole. And that's not something to be sneezed at.
Our next category is usually titled van/wagon, but this year on Motoring 95, we're going strictly with the wagon.
That's right. You know, trying to compare a wagon to a van is like trying to compare apples to oranges. It doesn't work. Next year we will have a wagon category as well as the van category, because the Windstar, which is new for this year, will be joined by an all-new Chrysler and an equally new Honda Odyssey. So there will be a wagon category next year.
All right, let's now have a look at our nominees for Wagon of the Year, and that'll be followed by our nominees for Sport Utility of 1995.
The latest edition of the Legacy Wagon has a fresh, rounded appearance, revised interior design, an extra 2 inches in the wheelbase, and for the first time, traction control is available on the front-wheel drive models. Need more traction still? No problem. The Legacy's full-time all-wheel drive model delivers. All in all, the new Legacy ups the ante in the world of wagon. The new Passat Wagon features a softer, more rounded appearance as well as a new grille that finishes the front end off properly. The VR6 engine is a compact, narrow-angle V6 that uses a common cylinder head for both banks. With 172 horsepower on tap, it certainly delivers a punch. Volvo's new flagship enters the model year by taking several pages from the highly successful 850s book. A stiffer chassis, revised front suspension and a completely new rear suspension take care of the ride and handling. The 2.9-litre inline 6-cylinder engine provides the power, while Volvo's patented side impact protection system, dual airbags and anti-lock brakes take care of the safety aspect. The new Legacy, with its wide choice of models, safety items, as well as the required versatility and practicality, earns the nod as the best new wagon. The vehicles that invented the compact sports utility segment of the marketplace have been completely redesigned. Both the Blazer and Jimmy feature fresh new aerodynamic styling, a driver's side airbag, four-wheel anti-lock brakes, as well as a stiffer chassis and revised suspension packages. The electronic transfer case ensures one-touch shift on the fly between 2- and 4-wheel drive. If there is such a thing as an off-road Rolls-Royce, the new Range Rover is it. This completely new vehicle successfully combines the ride and comfort of a truly luxurious automobile with the best 4x4 system available today. In short, this vehicle is equally at home on the highway as it is in the middle of a mud hole. Along with some minor revisions to the sheet metal, the new Explorer now features a real front suspension, much improved steering control, and a new 4x4 system that uses an electromagnetic clutch to distribute power front to back. In short, the weaknesses of the old vehicle have been more than addressed. And our best sport utility of the year, the Ford Explorer.
So the Ford Explorer wins it, although if I had the cash, I'd be happy behind the wheel of any one of those three vehicles.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I would as well, but I picked the Explorer because they've made a quantum leap forward in the vehicle dynamics. The steering and suspension are both vastly improved, as is the all-new four-wheel drive system. Combine them, you've got the winner.
Two more winners yet to come. Up next, the Prestige Car of the Year, followed by our overall Car of the Year for 1995. So stay with us.
Are we supposed to believe that some mild-mannered accountant undergoes a Jekyll and Hyde transformation when he slips behind the wheel of a car like this? Does his behavior change compared to what he does driving the family station wagon? I think I blew that there.
Our Midas tip of the week concerns new car warranties. In some cases these days you have a choice between complete car coverage or extended powertrain coverage. I tend to opt for that powertrain coverage in order to be protected from the big hits, the engine, transmission, or transaxle failures, because those are the ones that can really hurt you badly. It's not uncommon for $2,500 to $3,000 bill for repairing or rebuilding a front-wheel drive overdrive transaxle. And many of these new cars today are failing these transaxles at an awful alarming rate. It's something you might want to think about. Another game these days is to sell you up or sell you additional extended powertrain coverage. And in some cases, if you have a vehicle with traction control, all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, etc., some of these things can be very costly to service. So you might want to think about that additional coverage. It could really pay off in the long run. If your car has a fairly simple powertrain and you're into doing your own maintenance, probably something that you don't need to spend the extra money on. In any case, make sure that you're doing the maintenance at the prescribed intervals in order to keep that warranty effective. That's your Midas tip of the week.
The Ford Windstars continue to roll off the line here in Oakville, Ontario, as we continue with our Motoring 95 Car of the Year special. And Graham Fletcher, our next category is entitled Prestige.
Absolutely, all wonderful cars to drive, and indeed a bumper year this year. But what's astounding is the amount of tax you'd pay on a luxury car like that would buy you an economy car. Now that really scares the living daylights out of me.
Yeah, and it's also a problem I don't anticipate having in the near future. Anyway, we've narrowed our Prestige field down to 3 finalists. Let's check them out.
Over the past 3 years, BMW have revamped their entire model range, culminating with the new 740. This new model is longer, lower, wider, and benefits from a stretch wheelbase that now measures 2,930 millimeters. Factor in the new sheet metal, a revised front suspension, and a totally new multi-link rear suspension, plus a host of other upgrades, and the new 740 is really going places. The new XJ series of sedans are offered in a host of different guises, from the base XJ6 through to the stunning XJR, the latter being the first supercharged model ever offered by Jaguar. In redesigning the XJ, Jaguar wanted to return to their heritage. To that end, all models now feature the famous sculpted hood line over the headlights, and the Leaper returns to its rightful place. While the new 911 debuts this year wearing some much more rounded sheet metal and sporting a brand new suspension, it retains its rear-engine, rear-wheel drive configuration. The familiar 3.6-litre flat-six boxer engine is also retained, although it now produces 270 horsepower, which is up 23 from last year. All of this is sure to soothe the souls of serious Porsche-philes. The walkaway winner in the Prestige class is the all-new Jaguar Xjr. Seldom are performance and panache combined quite as well as they are in this exciting new sedan.
Well, we've reached that point in the program and we select our overall Car of the Year. Graham Fletcher will be here in just a moment with that announcement. But first, we're going to join Jim Kenzie one more time. And as we all know, Jim likes to march to his own drummer, and that includes picking the Car of the Year. So as we do every year, here's Jim with his Car of the Year selection.
Well, let's start with criteria. What should a Car of the Year be? Well, to me, it should be a breakthrough car, one that's a real improvement over the model it replaces. It should be high-tech, it should have all the latest safety technology, a lot of features, great value, good performance, a complete package. But this does not mean a car has to be an exotic luxury car. If a car can be all these things and still be affordable, well, to me, that counts for double. So consider a car with an all-new body, world-class levels of stiffness. It's got great style, good room, good performance for its class. It's got dual airbags and anti-lock brakes as standard equipment, and it starts at $11,595. To top it off, it replaces the car that's been the best-selling car in Canada for the last 5 years. Now, the 1995 Car of the Year then is obvious, at least to everybody except Brad and Graham. It's the Chevrolet Cavalier.
You know, I just wish that Jim would learn to come out of his shell. Anyway, Graham Fletcher is standing by with his Car of the Year, but before we get to that, let's review our winners to date. The Economy Car of the Year went to the Hyundai Accent. Family Car of the Year, the Nissan Maxima. The Luxury Car of the Year, the Oldsmobile Aurora. The Subaru Legacy took the Wagon of the Year. The Sport Utility was the Ford Explorer, and our Prestige Car of the Year was the Jaguar Xjr. All right, now let's join Graham Fletcher to announce Motoring 95's Car of the Year.
If I was selecting the Car of the Year using my heart alone, the Jaguar Xjr would win by a country mile. However, somewhere along the line, the head has to factor into the equation somewhere. For that reason, our 1995 Car of the Year goes to GM. And no, it's not to the Cavalier that Kenzie fancies. It is indeed to the Oldsmobile Aurora. It's a quintessential GM, and if that's the direction they're taking for the future looks decidedly rosy.
Well, we want to congratulate all the winners this year, and you know, there are a lot of people who believe that Car of the Year selections, either on television or in print, are simply dumb. Well, we like to think it's kind of fun, but we are well aware of the fact that we have not spent the last half hour separating the good from the bad. As Graham said earlier, we're trying to separate the good from the good. And as I said, it's kind of fun, isn't it? That's it for now. Before we go, we want to thank Ford of Canada for allowing us to go behind the scenes as they produce a vehicle they are very proud of, and that's the Ford Windstar. That's it for now. We'll see you next week for more stories about cars and the people who drive them.
Motoring 95 is proud to introduce the first in a series of comprehensive test drive videos with an exclusive comparison of the 7 most popular minivans in North America. Graham Fletcher evaluates performance, versatility, and safety. Bill Gardner examines each van, top to bottom, front to back, and under the hood. Jim Kenzie covers showroom savvy, the demonstrator, buying or leasing, options, and much more. We'll also compare fuel economy, safety features, warranties, replacing parts, and recall history. For your copy of this exclusive video, send check or money order to Motoring 95, P.O. Box 65213, Toronto, Ontario, M4K 3Z2, or call 1-800-340-7607. 416 and 905 area codes call 416-462-1504.
TSN's Motoring 95 has been brought to you by Quaker State. Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life. And Midas, for brake, exhaust, suspension, and steering service. Trust your car to Midas.